A very good morning to all of you. Today, Melvin, Nirmal, and I are here to present the comparative study on F51 chair and the Vasily chair by Walter Gropius and Marcel Breuer to understand the contrast in their interpretation of the modernist movement and minimalism.
Let's go through a brief overview of the presentation. We'll start with a brief timeline, followed by the designs and the designers. This will be followed with their ideas of minimalism and how it affected their designs, ending with a conclusion.
After the First World War, the financial conditions of Europe, especially Germany, deteriorated tremendously due to their loss, causing distress amongst the masses. But even during this crisis, an art movement started to flourish in the realms of Weimar. This was modernism, which was characterized by the emphasis on mass production of elegant and sober designs with minimal ornamentation. This ideology gave birth to Bauhaus, a school by great Gropius in which the students and the teachers worked together to fully realize the ideas of modernism. The works by the pioneers such as Walter Gropius and Marcel Breuer became the highlight of the institute during the raging interwar period. Let's now explore the designers and how their ideas and creativity were turned into some milestone furnitures.
Walter Gropius is known as one of the pioneers of modernistic designs and architecture. His ideas of modernism reflected in his works where he removed excess ornamentation and incorporated new age technologies. He was one of the first designers to use the cantilever system in his design. Though his designs did not have the aesthetic fascination, it reflected a sober and programmatic concern that marked his whole life. Marcel Breuer, who was a professor at Bauhaus, focused on a different form of minimalism, which even involved the removal of elements in his designs which he found unnecessary. This was proven in his design of the Vasily chair, which was reduced to a mere skeletal structure which was unheard of at that time. He also incorporated new materials like tubular steel and isinglass.
Let's now learn about the ideas of minimalism through the lens of Walter Gropius and Marcel Breuer, respectively. The difference in their philosophy seems quite evident when you see how they interpreted the word minimalism. Walter Gropius believed in a very conventional definition of minimalism, which involved the minimal use of ornamentation, which becomes evident when you see how he was able to reduce the chair to a mere cubic form with paddings. This, in combination with the cantilever system on its base, gave a feeling of floating in the air when one sat on the chair, as the simple system helped reduce the number of legs on the chair from four to a single continuous piece. On the other hand, Marcel Breuer took his definition of the word minimal to the very extreme, which involved removing all the excess material and elements in his design to the point that only the true essence of the product remained. The Vasily chair is devoid of all paddings and is replaced by a thin canvas-like material along with a thin structure made of tubular steel as its main frame.
The structure of both the chairs justifies this contrast. The cantilever system on the base of the F51, which was one of the first of its kind, makes it quite distinguishable. The thick padding covered the cubic structure, which was later covered with red-colored cavalry cloth, which gave it a dominant aura, bringing the whole design together. All these materials were placed on a wooden oak frame painted black.
On the contrary, Marcel Breuer was inspired by the tubular steel of the bicycle handlebars and thought it could be used for his Vasily chair, which he thought was appropriate due to its high strength and lightweight. On his conquest to take minimalism to the very extreme, he replaced the padding with a canvas-like material called isinglass, which was made and developed by one of his own colleagues. Brower termed this as his least artistic, most logical, least cozy, and the most mechanical work.
So, in conclusion, both the chairs encapsulated the fundamental ethos of modernism with slightly different interpretation by both the designers. The Vasily chair, known for its acute minimalism, which was in total contrast with the F51, which focused on the conventional idea of minimalism as merely limiting ornamentation.
We understood the comparison between the two chairs and drew a contrast between their designs, structure, and their approaches to modernistic minimalism to truly realize and understand how two designers teaching in the same institute following similar philosophies of modernism differed so much in their design styles due to what they thought to be minimal. Hope you like it. Thank you.
Thank you.